Herd mentality is I'm doing something because, well, everyone else is, or the majority of people are, or the majority of people that I think I relate to, or that a group that I think that I fit into, that I perceive that I fit into, that they, this is what they're doing, so therefore I'm gonna do it. And it's not just about being trendy. We're talking about literally turning off your own intuition and saying, I'm gonna go follow the herd.
Your mom is supposed to say to you, if everybody were jumping off the bridge, would you follow them? The idea being that you shouldn't just mimic everybody else's behavior or be bullied or peer pressured into something.
We are living through a time right now where groupthink and group identity has become so charged and so dangerous.
So we're a farm family, and we have a small herd of cows, and every so often we bring these cows in off of their pasture and put them in the corrals. And the way we do this is to get the lead cow pointed in the right direction, lead her along with a bale of hay, and then pretty much all the herd will follow her happily and just trot into the corrals. They have no idea why they're going there, all just going with the flow and moving in. But every so often we will get maybe a rogue heifer or steer that doesn't want to go in, and we'll make a break for it. They are thinking they don't want to leave their pasture, and they create all kinds of havoc getting back out to the field. So while we want our cows to be really obedient and compliant and move along as a herd, honestly, I teach my son to be a little bit more like that rogue heifer or steer. I want him to think before he just mindlessly goes with his peer group and question what is the point of us being taken to where they're taking us, and research and be a little bit suspicious, honestly.
Think about it. You've got a sheepdog that barks, and the sheep all go one direction. They don't think that, hey, maybe I should consider where we're going. They know that that's where the sheep are going. That's where I'm going to go. Herd mentality creates an opportunity for us to be simple and not think for ourselves.
We're seeing people giving up their power, their own personal independent thought. They're surrendering free thinking to adopt the message of the mob or the herd.
What's bad is when you allow the behavior of other people to dictate to you your actions without you really thinking about whether they are the right or wrong thing.
The basis for anything that we do has to be the individual, because groups or herds can't have rights because they're not able to have responsibility. It's only at the individual level that we can have rights and responsibility.
I think that could be argued for either side of the political spectrum. It could be on medical, just in all things.
I do believe that it's so easy to fall prey to it because none of us wants to be on the outside. We have this natural sort of protective mechanism where we want to be part of the crowd and part of the herd. So it's difficult to take any kind of individual stand sometimes.
In my profession of journalism, herd mentality is something that you see a lot in what I call groupthink. Everybody decides to have the same approach to a given story, and it's much easier if you just join with everybody else than to possibly be wrong if you take your own independent approach. The consequences can be very serious for everybody just deciding what the story is going to be and not exploring other options. And we have actually seen people go to war without journalists applying the proper amount of skepticism.
I was actually one of the leading distributors in the world for Pokemon when it came out here in the U.S. And Pokemon was a huge fad at the time. And I sold like $12 million of it in 8 months for a distributor I worked for. And I basically capitalized on that. I've made a living out of capitalizing on the herd mentality. But that's not to say that Pokemon or fidget spinners or any of those things are bad things. There's no reason to feel like we need to then alienate the people that followed the herd, as long as as long as by the time they got to the point where it was their own decision, that they understood all the information. But I think it's really, really important that before we follow that sheepdog, that we look up above the crowd and find out where it is we're going. And I think it's really important that as individuals, we don't forget that we're individuals. So I would encourage everyone to recognize the herd mentality, to recognize the mob. When people are carrying torches and pitchforks, make sure that you've got a bucket of water nearby. So keep your head and think for yourself. It's really important that you think for yourself.
I do believe that, especially in the world we're living in, it's so important, and maybe even more important to not fall prey to herd mentality, groupthink, mob mentality.
It's important that we fight for our right to think freely as individuals and not be conformed by peer pressure or bullying into adopting whatever they say we have to adopt.
I would encourage those with ears to hear and hearts to receive is to be free thinkers and to look at the facts for yourself, to question everything. Good people that you love, admire, and have trusted may not be right on everything.
Think for yourself.